Today, another technology rant on how generic security questions are not safe. This episode of TQA Weekly is brought to you by the TQA Weekly store. Great gifts that support the show. I'm Steve, this is TQA Weekly. If ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions, stories, anything you want to share, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and interact with the community. And of course, use the contact form to email me directly. And of course, some of you watch on YouTube, blip.tv, Vimeo, or anywhere else I post every single week. You can always comment down below. So today's topic is about the ridiculous nature of today's security. The most ridiculous question that you can think of off your hand to protect any account, whether it be your cell phone, your ISP, your credit card, your bank account, websites on the internet, your social networking accounts, is what? What is your mother's maiden name? What school did you go to? Who was your best friend? Who was your first pet? Basically, any generic question that anybody can find a response on the internet. The problem is that we're dealing with a bunch of old school dinosaurs that every 10 seconds will tell you that in their day, and anybody my age knows that that response needs to disappear. Literally speaking, whenever a security question is easily searchable on the internet, it's not secure, it's insecure, and yet we continue to use this kind of security question. For what reason? Because it's convenient. Because this question is convenient, anybody is capable of responding to that question at any time, almost blatantly, to anybody who will ask that question. How many times in the last year have you responded to the question, what is your mother's maiden name? I would like to give you a few more little tidbits of scaredom at the same time. Have you ever noticed that you're never actually validating who's calling you? Yeah, if you're not validating who is calling you, there is a problem. Remember, you'll just say that response to anybody. What is stopping anybody from calling you to get the response so that they can call your service so they can change something in your account? Since it is an answer that you're going to give out anyway, why is it being secured in that way? Well, because of all the convenience and all that stuff. From the point of view of a client, because we're all clients, we have to actually come up with a few better ways of securing our accounts. Over the phone, we can do things like some companies have PIN numbers on top of questions to actually verify that you are in fact you. These PIN numbers, you have to go through their website to set up. In some cases, you can even modify the question. If you can get a custom question, you can get the custom question as a means of verifying that they are in fact them. So next time your ISP calls you up and asks you what's your mother's maiden name, but the question is, what green-eyed monster do you like best? You would actually know you're not actually talking to the right person, considering it's so easy to change the caller ID on any phone today. In fact, every cell phone can turn off caller ID. What is preventing anybody from just changing the ID of their call? And on top of that, when it comes to websites, we shouldn't really be asking those questions. They should be custom questions, or we should have multiple factor authentication, not just on login, but on password or account recovery on websites. And hopefully it's account recovery. You don't want to recover passwords. You want to input a new one. I actually went through PayPal's method of recovering my account, and it is a process that I actually like and believe most websites should actually start adopting. It's multi-method account recovery. So basically I had to use email and text to validate in one single session that I was in fact the owner of that account. So if you weren't able to do it in one shot, you're technically not the owner of that account. By having stuff set up in that way, you actually prevent people from accessing your stuff, and all of these other services should actually take note of the fact that we shouldn't be using these questions anymore. We can find all the answers on Facebook, Twitter, Wikipedia in some cases, depending on how popular you are. And if you have your own personal website, the answer might already be there. On top of all this, if there's anybody willing to go through the trouble of looking up your genealogy, they might actually find the answers for themselves without having to ask you in the process. So for those interested, for more information on how to secure your account, please go to your account settings and verify under security if multiple or two-factor authentication is available. If it is, use it. If it's not, make a lot of freaking noise and ask for it by name. Many companies won't give it simply because they don't get asked for it. So if you ask for it, they might actually give it to you. Like if you dislike this episode, dislike if you didn't like this episode, and explain why no dinosaurs permitted, because obviously if you're going to go old school on me, I'm just going to delete your comment because it's worthless to me. Share your ideas, share your solutions, share other means that you think that would actually improve our security, and of course, share with those that you think would benefit from this episode. Have a great day.